That was something, you know, in my mind, you know, of course, I mean, it's very clear, you know, he injects himself and he, you know, develops the strength of 10 men and, you know, thinks he's godlike. And so, you know, what he doesn't reckon with is, of course, the advancement in this science will enable him to regrow his arm, but also he acquires reptilian, cold-blooded traits. They were, you know, at the early advancements in cross-species genetics. You know, Peter's father was working with, you know, arachnids, spiders, and I was working with reptiles. And given the fact that I'm limbless and that reptiles have the ability to regrow a limb, you know, that is potentially a force for good. You know, given the amount of, you know, military and landmine victim civilians all over the world, you know, that would be a good thing, you know. There were moments where I'm turning from a human into a reptile and then turning back from a reptile into a human, and those for me were the most interesting parts to play. You know, it was like, okay, how much, you know, lizard am I, how much human, you know, but they're really kind of brutalizing, emotional, transitional points, you know. And I guess, again, to use, you know, the drug addict thing, you know, there's the anticipation and the rush of the becoming, and then there's the awful come down of becoming human again with all its frailties and insecurities and doubts and weaknesses, you know, as the lizard would see them. So you know, they entail, you know, the CGI obviously I left to a lot of clever people with computers, but then the transitional stuff I was in the hands of just these incredible makeup artists for up to, you know, at its worst it was like 7 hours with like 4 people working on me, which I was very nervous about. You know, I thought, because I'm not very good at sitting still for any length of time, but these people are so amazing at what they do. I was kind of transfixed by just watching, you know, 4 great artists create their work on my face, you know, so it was kind of cool. I was obviously aware of Spider-Man, you know, like everyone is, you know. I wasn't a comic book boffin by any stretch, but when I got the part, I got all these flashes of when I was, you know, very young, and you know, there was certainly a year or two in my early life where, you know, I kind of ran around the house doing this, and I do remember cutting out a Spider-Man mask from the back of one of the comics, you know, and tying a bit of thread around it and colouring it in and putting pins where the eyes were, and I think, you know, that's the enduring power of Spider-Man, you know, is that he's not kind of an aloof millionaire like Batman who lives in a mountain, or he's not some kind of godlike entity like Superman. He's a kid who goes to school, who's going through puberty and who's bullied and you know, who feels ostracized, and you know, that's something we can all relate to, you know, and that's, I guess, why we revisit this story so often. I just think there's a much more of a kind of emotional baseline to this, you know, that Peter needs to know what happened to his dad, you know, and hopefully we'll find out if there's a next one.